began working as a deputy sheriff for Westchester County. He's currently a sergeant with Westchester County, and he looks forward to working with all of us and the residents of Pelham.
Wow, wonderful, welcome.
This is Corey. He's enjoying a 10-year career working for the State University of New York. He is currently the Director of Campus Facilities and Administrative Services for SUNY Orange. He is married with twin daughters in 4th grade. He's currently living in the village of Irvington. He has 25 years of law enforcement experience, and he began as an NYPD auxiliary while going to college. After graduating from Brooklyn College with an MA in public policy, he moved to Westchester County and joined the City of Yonkers Auxiliary. Soon after, he joined the Westchester County Sheriff's Department, where he stayed for 15 years, and earning a county DPS unit citation and retiring as a sergeant of the motor pool unit.
Wow. Okay. Did you two people know each other when you were on the Westchester County Sheriff's?
We did, we were good friends.
And Yonkers Auxiliary?
Yeah, I missed him by, I think, a year or two.
Oh,
See, I did read them. And when I read the second one, I said, wait a second, this is the first one. And then I said, no, it is the second one. So, you guys have any questions for this is the board. There's four council people and a supervisor. And Kristen is the liaison to the constables. Do you have any questions for us?
I do not. We're looking forward to joining Pelham. When we were both with Westchester County, we heard about Pelham. And
Was that a good thing or a bad?
people spoke very highly about it.
Okay.
So once I retired, we started looking at what's next.
Well, you guys help us on the Memorial Day parade.
The sheriff department, yeah,
Right.
right.
And you take over the traffic duties for us and keep the traffic from going, so we thank you very much. So let's get down to swearing you in, so Steve can tell you where you're gonna go from now on.
all right, just smile so we can get it for the record.
Wednesday.
Do you need anything?
Just tell
Do
her
this
prayers.
after the swearing.
Terrified.
We'll be good.
I can't take it anymore. I can barely walk.
You'll have a whole new life.
Something.
No, so I told you about my mom.
Whoa.
You're a lot better than that.
So I think I'm gonna do both of you at the same time.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
Yeah.
If you need anything, I'll bring you the seat.
Thank you, thank you.
No, I mean it. I really mean it. I miss cooking for my dad.
I appreciate
You
it, thank
solemnly
you.
swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
Do solemnly swear to support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
the Constitution of the State of New York,
and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of
I faithfully discharge the duties of
the town constable for the town of Pelham.
the town constable of the town of Pelham.
Thank you.
And now they have to sign.
It doesn't matter for now.
Okay. Well, before you do that, would you come over and sign? Right. You sign.
They're all playing, they're fighting with each other.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, oh, don't pass her the ball.
Corey, what year did you
did.
graduate? What is that? You're right. Oh my God, how did I have these backwards?
Wonderful.
That's
And she
really
took
good.
it and she
Yeah.
journalized it.
I was so, oh my God, I was so.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow, wonderful. I should felt bad for the other two. They were, Reese's team.
All right.
Won one year, got one game.
Okay, congrats, that's
The other
amazing.
team won like, I think they won like.
It really is.
Great.
And
Congratulations and welcome to Pelham.
Yeah.
you know what my husband says? On any given day, at any given time.
For a very long time, actually, right?
Like
20 years. That's a long time.
I had no idea. I don't think our girls knew because they would have been intimidated.
Exactly, it's better that way.
I was actually, I was thinking
And-
the two worst teams are playing each other right now.
Steve, why don't you
No, well,
introduce
that's-
the
they
two
do
other
best
people
and
that are here with you?
It makes sense, but I
Yeah.
didn't occur to me.
Go ahead.
This gentleman,
Made sure the townhouse didn't burn down during the Christmas lighting, so.
I want to thank you all. You've all been very supportive, and we appreciate it. We truly do.
Thank
You're
Thank
doing a
you.
fine job there, Steve
Thank you.
Conti.
Thank
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, congratulations.
Okay,
Thank you,
See you,
bye.
Thanks.
Rob.
okay. So did everybody get the minutes from Molly and Annie?
Yes.
Yes.
Anybody have any comments? I have a comment.
Oh,
Part of the minutes in the old new business, it says that we asked the board members to look into reserve counting and the balances. I didn't ask the board, I just asked Kristen, Councilwoman Burke and Councilwoman McLaughlin to look into that.
okay.
I don't think we need the board to look into that. Do I motion to pass the minutes?
So,
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Zemansky.
Yes, I'm ready. Before I start,
She's ready to report this, but she's not ready for her Operation Wednesday. She's getting very nervous, so let's give her all support that we can.
thank you.
It'll be good.
You can say a prayer. I'm
Absolutely.
having a
We
total, right total knee
Oh, God.
on
okay.
Wednesday
All
morning.
right. You're gonna be great. All right.
White Plains Hospital.
Okay.
Thank you for your good wishes. So I just wanted to follow up on the ID badges. Detective Burpee reached out to me to tell me he was very sorry he hasn't been able to do it because he's been so busy. He's the only detective. So it's been kind of a whirlwind for him, but he will schedule a date. I said you probably have to schedule a couple of dates so that people can come in morning or afternoon. I just asked Augusta to give me all of the library staff, they can get IDs. They should have picture IDs too.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So she will do that, and then I'll follow up with Tom to see when he can do it. Okay. For the month of February, there were a total of 60 calls, which is low for us. 33 in the village of Pelham, 24 in the village of Pelham Manor, 2 on the Hutch, and 1 on the to 195, sorry, 1 on the Hutch. The average time for the backup unit to arrive was 9:59. In the report, Scott Holland, who's my contact at Empress, put that the average time for the backup at 9:59 was for BLS units. I emailed him back because I said, are you telling me in this report that every unit that came to transport was a BLS unit? He said, no, I didn't break it down, I just generalized. So from now on, I'll know how many ALS units transported patients and how many BLS units transported patients. It's important for us to know what the type of transport is, so he will do that the next time. 44% of the calls were answered in 5 minutes and under, and 60% of the calls were answered in 6 minutes and under.
So I'd like to add something to the discussion on the fly car. First of all, I would like to tell everybody that the fly car is basically an emergency room on wheels, okay? So what the fly car does is it goes to wherever it's called, and it assesses whether that person needs a BLS, a basic life support system, ambulance, or an advanced life support system. At the same time, when he or she thinks it needs an ALS, they're on the phone with the emergency room of where that person is going to. Literally, it's an emergency room on wheels, okay? So they stabilize the person and/or assess whether that person should be going BLS, ALS, or not at all. Or not at all. And we've had that for how many years? 20?
21.
21 years. We house it in the firehouse in Pelham Manor. They give us that space for free. We couldn't get any space at the Pelham Manor the Pelham Firehouse. So basically, it gets directed by 60
control.
And they respond to 60 control. They don't respond to the village of Pelham Manor. They don't respond to the village of Pelham. They respond to 60 control, and 60 control then figures out if they need an ambulance, and that's where the backup ambulances come. We, as a board, gave out an RPF.
RFB.
I always screwed that up.
I know.
And 5 groups showed an interest, only 2 gave us back quotes. And those quotes, we currently spend $272,000, $257,000 on the fly car. Where does that come in? There's a person in that fly car 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So we pay for that person, and we pay Empress right now for that. And we normally have a 2-year contract, which we started on January 1st. It has a 60-day cancellation period, okay? So the request for proposal that we sent out, we asked for a fly car, and we've asked for a quote on getting a full-time ambulance, ALS ambulance. That cost, that's currently non-negotiated, runs from anywhere from $1.8 million to $2.1 million, depending on who you have. In order to get $2.1 million or $1.8 million, we'd have to raise taxes because there's no other place we can get it from. So we would go from $257,000 to a contract of $1.8 million to $2.1 million. We're going to talk about that as a board later. Anybody have any questions on that right now?
My only question is when the ambulance when the patient's billed,
The patient's only billed for copay. 99.9% of our community has insurance.
right,
So the assessment and the transport are billed to your insurance.
right,
Usually each insurance has a copay.
right,
That's all they have to pay.
right. So
Or-
who gets
or
the,
a
who do they pay
deductible.
that money to?
The money goes to the vendor who has taken them to the hospital. So right now it does go to Empress. And if we selected a different vendor, well, there are other scenarios that we've been talking about. So we'll
Okay.
talk about it probably in executive session tonight.
Okay.
Because it's a contract that we're
Yeah,
negotiating.
it's contract negotiation.
I gotcha,
so.
okay. Is there a thought to keeping the fly car and then getting a separate ambulance contracted, or is that just too complicated?
No, that's
just-
what the RFP was for a fly car and an ALS ambulance. That's what we asked for. So we specifically, in the proposal that we gave out.
Yeah.
That's what it asked for, and that's what they have come back with different options. One was not having an ALS, one was having a BLS ambulance and a fly car. So if there's.
Various sort of
Exactly,
scenarios,
scenarios.
okay,
Is it
okay.
lots of scenarios? Are
Okay.
you asking two different vendors? Were you?
Yeah.
I know what you're
Oh.
asking.
Like Empress,
Oh.
because that seems kind of reasonable, and then would it really be that much more?
Various
to get
sort
an
of
ambulance?
scenarios.
Well, we have
Okay.
lots of scenarios. Are
Okay.
you asking two different vendors? Were you?
Yeah.
I know what you're
Oh.
asking.
Like Empress,
Oh.
because that seems kind of
They owned
reasonable,
it.
and then
I
would it
don't know
really be
how
that
that would
much more?
work.
Various sort of
Exactly.
scenarios.
Well, we
Okay.
have
Okay.
lots of scenarios. Are you asking two different vendors? Were you?
Yeah.
I know what you're
Oh.
Like
asking.
Empress,
Having
'cause-
Empress for the fly car and having East Chester for the
Yeah.
Yeah.
ambulance.
Yeah,
We didn't ask for that.
okay, alright,
But we'll talk about some of the contracts.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Councilwoman McLaughlin on the recreation.
Thank you. The senior citizen group they had 24 round trips in the van to medical appointments. So the word's getting out on that, and they're definitely utilizing that service. The number of seniors participating each week in each of the activities continues to grow. I stopped by briefly during their meeting at 1 o'clock. There was at least 50 people there. Some were milling around, so I wasn't sure what group they were working with. Excuse me. The Pelham Recreation Department, the basketball playoffs for the rec department are happening this week and next. It's understood that Councilwoman Curtin's daughter's team just moved along, so congratulations.
It's a bad news
to
bears,
them.
bears
Mine
story.
plays Wednesday. It is.
Spring activity signups have begun. A full list of all activities is available on the website and has been distributed to the school district for publication in the various newsletters at each school. Spring break sports and arts and crafts camp registrations are also open. Sign up quickly because they're closing out. Summer camp registration opened on February 27th. The day camp filled up immediately,
Within
all in
hours.
one day. So
No
they had
hours.
an
Wow.
extensive, I think it was 20 to 25 people per session on the wait list, and they've expanded it to include 100 students per session, which is the
Oh, they
largest
did?
group.
Where it used to be 80.
Wow.
Yeah, it's the largest group we've ever had. And it's, I think only one isn't at 100.
Wow.
1 week.
It's the best
rec
deal in
department is
town.
taking
Yes, it is.
applications for counselors for that, and they want older teens, 17, 18, 19-year-olds to work with this group because there are trips and it is an older group. The Big Tots program is a half-day program from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. at the high school. It is also for 7 to 12-year-olds, and there is availability. That is a one price for the whole summer, and you can come whenever. Tiny Tots is also a half-day program from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. for ages 3 to 6. It has some availability, but it's closing up quickly. The programs are at Hutchinson School, Colonial School, and Prospect. And then in addition, at the Prospect location for 3 to 6-year-olds, there is an afternoon program. That's for an additional fee. So you can either do both the morning and afternoon, or just the afternoon, or just the morning. All the answers are on the website, or you can call the rec department. They're happy to help you. Pelham Together is putting the finishing touches on a new 3-year strategic plan, which will be reviewed by the executive board and presented to the advisory board. When I learn more, I will report out. In addition, as Supervisor McLaughlin mentioned, Councilmember Burke and I met with the town's accountant to go over fund balance for the town. The state indicates that municipalities try to maintain between 15 and 20% of its budget as a fund balance. That's the recommendations. There are 5 types of uses for fund balances. One is non-spendable, which includes things like prepaid expenses. 2, restricted by law, such as debt service. Committed, such as for capital projects. Assigned, which would balance a budget or to pay accounts payable. And lastly, unassigned, which allows for funds that are free and clear for future use. Our accountant and the state recommend that each municipality have a fund balance policy, which provides for sound fiscal responsibilities. We will be meeting further with our accountant to discuss our current situation, weigh any anticipated activities coming down in the next several years, and present to the council in coming months.
So, for instance, what Karen and I were talking before the meeting, when we take over downstairs, we are gonna need funds to do that. Now, whether we can get a grant to help us do downstairs, are you listening? Unless you can get a grant for doing downstairs, we still have to fund it up front. So, if you looked at the Village of Pelham report on their whole project, they put in that it was gonna take almost $1.8 million to fix downstairs. Now, we don't believe it's $1.8 million, but I'm sure it's gonna be more than 100 and probably less than 500. We would have to have funds for that put into the budget, and that's why we need a fund balance that's available. So we have things like that. We had the townhouse grant, SAM grant we went for. That's $277,000. If in fact we do it, we have to put the money up front. Just to give you an example, we are still waiting for the flight car grant that we got approved for back in April of 2022, and we're still waiting for that money. I got a phone call from the state about 4 days ago, and they're hoping to get that to us sometime within the next month. So that's how long you have to put the money out.
Right.
So,
It's a long time.
long time. Any other questions for Councilwoman McLaughlin? Thank you. Councilwoman Burke.
Okay, the courts, they are still working through their COVID backlog. They have a lot of vehicle and traffic cases they are still trying to work through. The county, I think I mentioned this the last time, they have a new mental health court. Justice Kagan said it's sorely needed, and he had his first case arraignment for that court today. He has a jury trial scheduled for March 28th. The court is going to be closed on 5/4 for clerk training, and they are interviewing for assistant clerk candidates. Court
Court
clerk
clerk.
candidates. I don't know why I wrote that way. It's court clerk. Apologies. Thank you. I think that's it, and now I can go into my reports unless there's any questions.
I have a question.
Yep.
What is a mental health court?
That's a good question. I mean, they're designating individuals who end up in the system as really needing a lot of other support services.
Besides jail.
Besides
Right,
jail.
right.
And so, like, they had the drug treatment court was wildly successful when I was in the Bronx DA's office. That treatment court was very successful, and so individual criminal cases that had drug problems went through a special process and supports. I imagine it's the same thing for the mental health,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is great. It's
Yeah.
really great.
Okay,
I know,
thank
I'll
you.
have to try to go, and they're all open. I'd like to try to go at one point to White Plains to take a look at the processes there. Okay, so for the receiver of taxes report for the month of February 2023, town county taxes for 2022 were received in an amount of $5,824.11. School taxes received were $6,294,075.99. School collection fee received $52,871.60. Refund of duplicate payments for the school were $17,836.39. Penalties and interest received $63,464.75. Liens received $40,036.35. And miscellaneous $161 for a total of $438,597.41. And finally, the two justice reports for the month of January 2023. Justice Kagan received an amount of $43,670. And for the month of January 2023, Justice Gardner received an amount of $42,043.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions for Councilwoman Burke?
I apologize, I have one addition for the rec
Yes.
department. For the Recreation Commission, Daniel Green is now the chair and John Boyce is the vice chair.
Wow.
They've been
Whoa,
elected.
that's big news.
Breaking.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, Councilwoman
first.
Curtin on the library.
The library, I had the good fortune of attending the library meeting last Wednesday because it was the first Wednesday of the month, so that was helpful. The library is looking for a new trustee, to add a new trustee with, specifically with accounting experience. So if anybody could.
What experience?
Accounting.
Accounting.
So it's, would be assume the financial officer role. And any interested resident should contact Catherine Campbell, who is the board president, and her email is on the library website. And the library website is pelhamlibrary.org. The programming in March at the library is there's an emphasis on Women's History Month, and they're celebrating St. Patrick's Day over at the library. You'll be happy to know Supervisor McLaughlin. And in fact, I think it was the craft tonight, because I always miss the adult craft now. I would go from time to time. It's fun, but now it's on Monday evening at this time, so I can't make it. The library is offering ESL, English as a Second Language classes on Mondays in March, starting tonight and going every Monday. And you don't have to register, but they would like you to arrive on time and when you get there. So last week at the meeting, we learned that the library had a stuffed animal sleepover in February. So children of a younger age dropped off their stuffed animals, and they got into all kinds of hijinks with the library staff. The Pelham Manor Fire Department ended up there due to some microwave popcorn that caught fire. And this was all documented. It was very sweet in a video that is on the library website, and we can link over to it from our website. I think the programming at the library has just gotten better and better. And
Absolutely,
really,
100%.
and the thing that I don't know if everyone realizes, it's all free. There's nothing. Everything at the library is offered for free, so there's no cost at the library for the programming. So we really appreciate that. I wanted to just quickly tell you that at the library this Saturday, the Girl Scout event that I mentioned last month, it's Pelham Wellness Day, is being organized by the Pelham Girl Scouts. There's a website, it's called pelhamwellness.com, and the Home Alone program I mentioned is happening at the library on Saturday at 11 a.m. And they're also doing basic first aid there. And then there's programming all over town. There's programming at Bartow Pell and the Manor Club. And I think at the townhouse, they're doing some CPR events. So definitely look into that. And then just really quick, I attended the annual Association of Towns conference in February, which was held on President's Day, which is kind of odd timing. But the programming was great. There's so much good information. I wish I could have split myself up to attend more than I did. I did get the fund reserve information that I thought was great because it was updated by the comptroller for 2022. Most of the stuff that they have was last updated in 2016. So that was good. So I brought that. I wanted the board to have that, and I gave it to Councilwoman McLaughlin and Councilwoman Burke, because I know they're working on that effort. And other than that, I think that's all I have.
You must, I'm addressing this to you, you must have a great time this winter with the weather and having that story outside most of the time.
On days when it's decent weather, we'll get 80 people.
Well, I was there at one of them 2 weeks ago, and it was just,
It's a lot of people.
Oh, yeah.
lot of people.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah.
great.
It was rocking and rolling. It was definitely rocking and rolling.
That's incredible.
Very interesting. Thank you.
I just second Maura's statement about the programming improving. So just thank Augusta for all her hard
Yes.
work and her leadership.
Yep.
Great staff.
Yes.
Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you, Augusta. Thank you, Councilwoman Curtin. I attended the Eagle Scout ceremony Friday night for Dennis and Sean Condon. The reason I attended it is because I've attended every single one since I've been supervisor. But I'm just letting you guys know I did it for you, because their father runs the facilities for the Pelham schools, and that's how we get the fields. So, and I made sure I put that in my
That's why the
speech,
name
by
is
the way.
so familiar.
Yeah.
So, and both of them, one did a Bartow Pell garden, and one of them did the New York, New Rochelle YMCA, and painted that up and fixed that hallway up. I'd like to acknowledge Ruth Ann DeSimone when she does all of the proclamations for me.
She's so good at those.
Oh, yeah, she's very
She
good at
loves
those.
them
I
too.
know. Yeah.
Very good at those. I also attended the senior citizens swearing in. I swore all the officers in last week, and I presented them with the fly car and told the same story that I told you guys. to make them aware of what it is. And they appreciated that. And I also spoke to the head of the YMCA, New Rochelle YMCA, and you might join me with this, Kara. She wants to do some senior citizen programs at the YMCA.
Okay.
So it was funny. She got up to say thank you for doing something to the scouts, and when I got up there, I said to myself, I'm going to come to you and ask you about things that we could do for the town people. And when I got back to my seat, her card was already on top of my seat, so she knew where I was coming from. So I'll set that up, Karen. I'll talk to you
Okay,
about
great,
that.
yes.
And by the way, they had the YMCA teen night this past Saturday. Those have been very successful
Yes,
too.
this was
Yeah.
one of the most successful, almost 70 kids showed up,
My son was there.
which is fantastic. It was the last one of the year, but they're planning on scheduling more next year because the popularity has increased so much.
Good.
Okay,
Great.
now, I had sent all the board members a copy of a letter that the Westchester Municipal Official Association wanted to send to the governor regarding some of the things that were in the budget, basically talking about rezoning and doing local zoning. Doing state
Taking away,
zoning,
yeah.
take it away local zoning. And basically, that letter stated that you can incentivize, but don't mandate. Now, I sent it to all the board members. You had no problem with me signing it. 35 out of 45 municipalities signed that letter.
All right.
I think it was a good idea.
Good.
And funny, in the New York Times this morning, I do read the Times, George Latimer had a letter to the editor. And basically, I'm not going to read the letter, but he basically said, the suburbs are not monolithic. Westchester is the most diverse county in New York State outside of New York City, with over 40% of our population found in urban areas. And basically what he was saying is you can't just mandate something.
No.
Everybody's different. We're different than Shrub Oak, and Shrub Oak is different than Lewisboro, and Lewisboro is different than New Rochelle. So if anybody wants to see this letter that he sent in, it was a response to an opinion on February 23rd by Mara Gay, the
Editorial
to
director.
cut New York housing costs, ease suburbs zoning laws. That's what the article was about. And made it look like we were all the same. That's number one. Number two, Tom and I received an agreement that they want us, the town, to sign for the village of Pelham regarding a pilot that's going on with this big construction. They're doing a PILOT, payment in lieu of taxes. We received it,
Michelle
I guess,
Cassandra's favorite thing in the whole
maybe
world.
Wednesday,
She
Thursday.
hated it.
So anyway, it's really involved. And basically, we are going to get our real estate outside attorney include with Tom and myself, and maybe with Joe Battaglia, to go over what we can do, what we should do, and what we need to do.
Yeah, I spoke with Judd last week.
You did.
He's gonna look at it this week, and I also spoke with Ed Smith, who's in kind of,
Ed Smith is the
Yeah, from
Village of
the
Pelham
village.
attorney.
And, we're both sort of in the
he
same
is.
boat. I mean, it's like we can both read, luckily, and, yeah, right, so we read this and understand it, but it's, it's complicated and it's specialized, and we're both concerned about not knowing what we don't know.
Yeah,
So,
for
we're
sure.
gonna have Judd look at it, and, I don't know if they're gonna piggyback onto us, or if they're getting someone separately to look at it as well, but it seems fine, but like I said, it's like there
Yeah.
are some nuance sort of portions that maybe want to revise or not, so.
My quick, just to give my quick reading on it, is currently, the bank that used to be there, what was it called?
TD Bank. Oh, Eastchester
Capital One.
Savings.
Capital One.
Capital One.
We're paying in total taxes, $44,000
A year.
A
a
year?
year. Right. The payment in lieu of taxes during the 2-year construction period is gonna be $40,000 each year. and then it significantly goes up
Yeah.
once the construction is done.
Yeah.
Because the valuation of the property.
Right. To the point that in year 20, I think it was $897,000 in taxes that would be paid to the school, to the town, to the villages.
And how long is the pilot?
20 years.
Wow.
That's my quick and dirty
Assessment.
reading of it.
Yeah.
Then it goes to regular, so,
Valuation.
regular valuations. Any questions?
That will help us with our reserves.
Eventually.
I need,
Question,
yes,
what was the payment, $244,000 a year for the Capital One?
44.
It was 44.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I need a motion to go into executive session to discuss negotiation of contract.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you.
Can I use the
Come.
He's gonna answer 77 questions. Did you see my text?
Yeah, I don't understand why they're saying that.